If your watering system is not working properly, 9 times out of 10, the issue is a blockage issue. Now, the GreenStalk waters from the top to the bottom, and the bottommost tiers are the ones that are most vulnerable to blockages, because what needs to happen is the water needs to flow from the top through the middle. It goes through that middle core. It fills up these saucers, these gray saucers, and then as the gray saucers fill up and start to overflow into the center, the next one down gets water, and so on and so forth. So you can see that the topmost ones are probably least likely to be affected. Also, once the water starts to seep into the soil, then it also starts to flow from the top through these holes into the soil beneath. And so really the top tier needs to be saturated before the next level down starts getting water through the holes that are on the bottom. So yeah, for all these reasons, usually the top tiers do not have much of a problem with getting watered properly. It's the bottom tiers that suffer, which is what happened to me when I went on vacation and my celery all died in the bottom 2 tiers. What are some of the other telltale signs that you've got a watering issue? Now, one issue that a lot of people have is that they fill up the saucer on the top, the reservoir on the top, and the water just seems to flow right through, right away, without saturating the soil in the tiers. Now, there are a couple of reasons why that happens. I like using this plastic Tupperware to catch the water that flows from the drain hole at the bottom. This is full of fertilizer and other nutrients, so you don't want to waste it. Just pour it back in from the top. So the first reason is you're pouring the water too fast. The second reason is your soil may have gotten hydrophobic. So it's extremely common to see this problem where the water flows right through when you first set up your GreenStalk, because you may not have yet saturated the soil in each tier. And so when you pour the water in really fast, rather than take the time to soak into the soil in each tier, it goes straight down through the middle hole and then flows out through the bottom. So many of the soil mixes that we use in our GreenStalks are typically either peat-based or cocoa coir based, and those two materials tend to be really, really hydrophobic when they are dry. So it takes a long time for them to get saturated. So if you pour the water through the top of the GreenStalk very, very quickly, it will quickly go through the center core of the GreenStalk rather than take its time to saturate the soil. This hydrophobic soil will just let the water find the quickest path through it and go straight down through the bottom. So the main way to fix the problem is to make sure that your soil is well saturated when you first set up the GreenStalk. So with each tier, you fill it up, water it in well, and then stack the next one, and so on and so forth. And then during the course of time and over the course of usage of the GreenStalk as well, the pockets sometimes do tend to dry out. So you need to constantly make sure that your pockets are not drying out, because once that happens, it feels like it's almost impossible to resaturate and make the soil not hydrophobic anymore. There are a couple of other telltale signs that your GreenStalk has a watering issue. I don't have that problem right now, but sometimes you observe that the plants on one side seem to be doing well and the plants on the other side are looking a little bit wilty. That's usually the case when your GreenStalk is not stacked properly. If it's even slightly angled, you've got some feet that are not sitting properly, that tends to make the entire GreenStalk slant, and so the water tends to flow in one direction and water one side more than the other. And then one more possible watering issue could be just the mix of plants that you've got in each tier. So as an example, in this tier I've got tomatoes, a huge tomato plant, this bottom tier, and I've also got some carrots going. You can see that the carrots are not doing really well. Now this is not just a watering issue, this is also a nutrient issue. Some plants just tend to hog nutrients more than others, and tomatoes are notorious. Both nutrients as well as water, it'll take whatever it can and steal from the other plants around it. So you got to be a little balanced when you lay out and plan your GreenStalk. I've actually got a video on how to plan your GreenStalk, which I will link somewhere over here and also at the end of this video. So you got to be a little bit thoughtful as you plan out your GreenStalk to make sure that the right balance of plants is sitting in each tier. A good best practice is to check regularly to make sure that your pockets are not dry. And I do pocket watering at least once a week or so. That's just a general best practice that I follow for all my GreenStalks. The problem with pocket watering, though, even once a week, is now you've become your plant's watering emotional support system, and you're not allowed to go anywhere for more than a few days at a time. So I went away on a trip to Europe for 3 whole weeks almost, and that's why a lot of my plants died. They didn't have their emotional support system in place. So what is this plan B that I've been talking about? Let me show you how I put it together.